Today I come to you from Greenford. I've talked about Perivale. Greenford is an obvious follow-up. You know, several months later. So, the basics. Greenford is a station on the western portion of the Central Line of the London Underground. It also has a national rail service, being at the end of a branch line from West Ealing. It sees a frequent service on the Central Line, a less frequent national rail service. The history of Greenford is similar to that of Perivale. It was opened on the 1st of October 1904 by the Great Western Railway. Greenford is on the New North Main Line, a line from Acton to Northolt, which was a joint venture between the Great Western Railway and the Great Central Railway, designed to improve links between London and the Midlands without having to mess around with the Metropolitan Railway. Long story. Anyway, the current station is not the original. The original was built next to the present-day site, where Greenford Business Centre is now. Back then, there were no tube trains here. The Central Line, or the Central London Railway as it was known then, only went as far as Shepherd's Bush. Services at Greenford were provided by the Great Western Railway. And that was basically it for a long time, until 1935. That year, the 2-year-old London Transport published their exciting new plan, the New Works Programme, to judge the entirety of London's public transport network for the 20th century. The Central London Railway, soon to become the Central Line, would be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this, with plans to extend at both ends. A new branch line would be built to Denham, running alongside the new North Main Line. In the end, this only got as far as West Ruislip, but that's another story. The stations along the line would be rebuilt or replaced by new underground stations. This last bit was kind of interesting. Responsibility for actually implementing the New Works programme would fall to whoever currently had the service being upgraded. What this meant for Greenford was that the Great Western Railway had the responsibility for building the new station. The company's architect was Brian Lewis, who went the Art Deco route. This was very much the style at the time, and the Underground had definitely embraced that. What Lewis came up with was something in line with the modernism of the Underground, but also very much his own thing. The Great Western Railway hadn't embraced streamlined modernity to the extent that other railway companies had, but you wouldn't think it to look at Greenford with its sweeping curves. Like Charles Holden's underground stations, Lewis made plenty of use of natural light with this oddly square clerestory roof. One of those pub quiz bits of trivia people like is that Greenford is one of the only tube stations to have an escalator up to platform level. It was also the first to have such a feature. Until 2014, it was the last station on the network to have a wooden escalator. Most of these had been removed following the King's Cross fire of 1987, a disaster in which escalators had played a key role. The new station opened in 1947 and was served by underground trains from the start. The Great Western Railway, which became part of British Railways in 1948, still had some services of their own. These used the old station, and you can see where the subway connecting the two used to be. In 1963, most of them were diverted to Marylebone, completely avoiding Greenford. The remaining service from Paddington to Greenford via West Ealing used the bay platform in the new station. In 1967, Greenford officially became the responsibility of London Transport. The Great Western disappeared in 1948 into British Railways, but there is a distinctive feature of the old days still visible. Remember I mentioned the new North Main Line? Well, that still runs alongside the station. It's a shadow of its old self. It's so little used that it still has semaphore signals, which include the classic Great Western finial on the top. This is where I'm at in my life. I'm getting excited about finials. Send help. Little used is not a term that could describe the Central Line, but it's fair to say that the line to West Ealing is not super busy. In 2017, the service from Paddington was cut back in anticipation of the Elizabeth line. As a result, the trains now run every 30 minutes on a journey that takes just 10. The trains are diesel-powered because electrification just isn't considered worth it. But early in 2022 it was proposed to trial battery-powered Class 230s rebuilt from D-stock underground trains as a kind of halfway house. I'm not clear whether those trials have been carried out or they're going to be carried out or what. Let me know in the comments section if you know any better. Thank you! There is another rail service passing through Greenford. You see, there used to be 2 escalators at Greenford. One, albeit rebuilt, is still there in the upward direction. The other has been replaced by an incline lift, which I believe was actually the first on the network. Although you can, of course, now also see them on the Elizabeth line. In 1993, the waiting rooms were replaced due to subsidence. They aren't all that interesting, though. And that is everything I know about Greenford. One way or another, it's quite a distinctive station. Well, I hope you enjoyed this large westerly tale from the tube. If so, please do click the like button and consider subscribing for more. I'd like to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. You are the Bay platform to my commuter service. I'd also like to take a trip on the line to West Ealing. I've never actually done that before. It feels like it's kind of an omission. Anyway, maybe that's something for a future video, who knows. That aside, I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.